Hey guys, and welcome to BeardYGO. So as you can see behind me here, the scenery is quite a bit different, and it's basically just because I'm moving house and it's much easier to be crashing at my in-laws at the moment, just so that I don't have to be around all of the clutter. And so yeah, and just brought all my stuff over here so I can showcase you my deck profile. So recently I unsuspectedly topped my regionals, so that was quite nice. And yeah, I was playing virtual worlds, and yeah, definitely a little bit of a different version of virtual worlds, which is actually pretty interesting, quite fun, and a lot of people don't really expect it either. So yeah, quite nice, I enjoyed it. But yeah, let's get into the deck profile. So we'll obviously start off with the main, and let's just get off our virtual world package. So we've got our 3 Lulu, our 3 Gigi, and our 2 Nyan Nyan. So that is for the level 3s. Then level 6s, I'm running 2 Lao Lao and 2 why did I say 2? 3 Lao Lao and 3 Lily. So these are your standard monster ratios. Some people do play the 2-2, but I decided not to opt for that for this version. Okay, so those are the monsters, and then we're getting off to the spell cards, the rest of the VW stuff. So we got 3 Kowloon, 3 Qinglong, and 2 Chuche, 1 Chuanyu. So these are also your standard ratios, nothing really changes here. And that's probably one thing that I don't really like when it comes to virtual worlds, is it's basically always the same ratios. Like, the only time the deck really differs is with certain tech cards, or maybe even just the extra deck really. And so I decided to take this to a different route, because usually VW will just make like the same boards most of the time, and I wanted to opt away from that and rather run a couple of things that can still do the basic stuff that VW does, but can also sort of just catch the opponent off guard. So let's just move on to the rest of the standard stuff really. So we're obviously playing 2 copies of Emergency Teleport and 2 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. Then I'm also running 2 copies of Pot of Desires and 2 copies of Triple Tactics. Let's put that like that. So this is a lot of times also pretty standard. You know, a lot of people do offer sometimes even 3 desires, or you know, 3 goods or 1 goods or 3 talents. But yeah, I found that this actually works pretty well. So yeah, that's basically, you'll pretty much see these ratios in VWs most of the time, or not the ratios, but mainly those cards will be seen quite a lot of the time in virtual worlds. And then we get on to the spicy part of the main deck, and so I am running 41 cards. I think, you know, that was fine. I could possibly drop it to 40, but I just felt that everything in this version was quite necessary. So alright, like I said in my previous video, if you guys haven't checked that out, you guys can always have a look. It was basically just my experience at the regional event, and I did mention there that I am running like a trap version of Virtual Worlds. And so let's get into the trap cards that I was running. So I was running 3 copies of Torrential Tribute. Now Torrential Tribute is just one of those blowout cards. A lot of people don't really expect it, especially from Virtual Worlds. You know, you usually just have the Chuche pop, and you know, your front row is what's keeping the pressure. And so I decided to really just move more in like the opposite direction, so that my front board I don't really care about. Shen can always come back, and yeah, so a lot of the power in this deck came from the back row. And so yeah, 3 Torrential is just really good, but you'll see why later as to why I opted to run Torrential. Alright, then I'm also running 3 copies of Sword Soul Blackout. Now Sword Soul Blackout is basically just, you know, it's also really easy to play in VWs, because you've got your Gigi and your Lily, which are both worm monsters as well. And you know, if Blackout gets banished, then it gets you a token. And so that can happen through Shen or through the next card that I'm running, which is Trap Trick. So yeah, Trap Trick equals a live Blackout, even though I've got no monsters on board. So that is really good, and a lot of people weren't expecting this either. The nice thing is the Trap Trick gets me into the Torrentials, gets me into the Blackout. So this was just extra copies of whatever I needed at the time. And yeah, so the Blackout was also pretty good, so just those extra pops. You know, Chuche being as strong as what it is, especially with the boards that the Virtual World players make, you know, just to like protect a Kaliga even, is really strong. And so I opted for, you know, I could Chuche, I could also Blackout as well. So if they do try and extend past that, nice thing is the Blackout can get rid of back row as well. So I've got that inherent face down back row removal as well. So that was pretty good. And then rounding off the traps, we are running 1 copy of Imperial Order, and we're also maining the 1 copy of Skill Drain. Now these are really good. Like, wow, you know, Order, obviously it's just amazing. Skill Drain doesn't really affect our deck at all, really, especially the version that I'm running. The extra deck, yeah, sure, some of the stuff, but you know, you usually don't really go into much of your extra deck. And then, for example, you could draw Skill Drain off Charge Warrior, and then you just go a different route instead of your normal Zulkan, Crystal Wing, Kaliga play. So yeah, that is the main deck spice, and especially these 8. That's basically what carried this deck throughout quite a lot of my matchups. Yeah, really cool. I really enjoy this version a lot. It's just something different that, you know, people aren't used to, firstly, so it's got that nice surprise factor, but also, you know, it's not really seen, and it's new in Virtual Worlds as well. So I also enjoy running like Earth Machine deck, so your Earth box, and this really felt very similar because of the way that this was played, especially with the torrentials and the blackouts. You know, getting those pops off the whole time is sometimes a real mountain actually for people to get over. So yeah, let's get onto the extra deck and let's see what I was running to basically complement this. So obviously we are running Shen, you have to run it, it's virtual worlds, and we are also running the Zolkin package, so Crystal Wing with Zolkin, and then your standard ratios of Charge Warrior, Coral Dragon, Vermilion, and Muddy Mud Dragon. So those are your standard ratios for your synchros, especially if you're gonna go the Kaliga play. So we've got the Kaliga over here, so the Mud Dragon assists in that, but on top of that, the Mud Dragon also allows us to go into Hot Red Dragon, which is also really good. So if you don't want to go into Kaliga, you can always go into the Hot Red, and that can often help you out quite a lot. I mean, Hot Red plus a Crystal Wing tends to really pressure the opponent, especially if you can set up a trap trick or something. You got the double, you've basically got 3 pops then with a Chuche blackout, and then you still got 2 negates, and that should usually be more than enough. So those are the standard synchro Zolkin stuff, and then yeah, we'll get to that one last. So I'm running one Fan. Fan's just really good, where you can just float into stuff. In my last game I went into Fan. It's also a worm, so blackout, you know, can get rid of Fan if they don't decide to, or if they try to get rid of it in a different way that wouldn't trigger it. So yeah, I had the blackout ready for that. So yeah, really good card, good floater, good removal as well. Then we are also running one M7, which is also really standard. Then we're running one Utopia Beyond. This is basically for OTKs and, you know, getting over stuff like Dragoon and all that. Then I'm also running one Fortune Tune. I didn't really make this. Yeah, I don't think I've made this at all during the tournament, but this does work quite well, especially if you can just set this up and then, you know, have like torrentials and stuff set. At least you can still have a nice body on board. Does recur your stuff as well, so you know you can't deck out on all that type of stuff, and it allows you to go into Zeus as well, which is really good. So we're obviously running the one copy of Zeus, and yeah, I would probably change the Fortune Tune out for something else. I was for a brief moment trying out Mistworm, and you know, just because it's such an old school card and really cool, I was like, maybe I should just put in a Mistworm, but I decided against it, and so yeah, I basically just went for Fortune Tune, but I'll definitely look into other options as well. So yeah, those are the exceeds, and then the card that basically just justifies the version that I am running is the one copy of Final Sigma. So Final Sigma, along with Skill Drain or Torrentials and stuff, that just really hurts the opponent, because this is just going to stay on board. Even under Skill Drain you can still attack for the double damage because he's unaffected by Skill Drain. Obviously you'll have to bring him out first before having the Skill Drain up, so this is usually my go-to play, especially like with if you see the draws you get off of Coral and off of Charge Warrior or Desires or even Talents, if you get interrupted, you know, then you can decide for yourself, like, okay, is my hand good for Sigma, or do I go the normal plays, or did I draw into torrentials, or did I draw into skill drains? And you know, then it just makes this card much more powerful because they can't really out it. I mean, it's a lot of times, even under skill drain, it's difficult for players to even make a 3000 body, especially if you're getting torrentialed even once. So yeah, Final Sigma was definitely really good during each of my matchups. Okay, so then we move on to the side deck, and so the only monsters in the side deck for the main is Droll, and I opted for this because it is probably one of the best hand traps to be running at the moment. Virtual Worlds, I don't feel should run hand traps, to be honest. There's a lot of you know, speculation on whether you should or shouldn't run hand traps. My personal opinion is don't run hand traps. You know, they tend to be bricks. Even if like you are running like Ash or Ghost Belt, you know, the level 3s, right? You know, but it just really sucks to have to normal summon them. And a lot of times you're seeing names that you normal summon, or level 3s that you can normal summon, you know, and it just doesn't work for me. Let's see here. I think my camera just died. Lol.
One eternity later.
Okay, so it looks like we just got disconnected there for a little bit. My camera's battery ran out. But yeah, Droll and Lock, really good. So I decided just to have this in my side. Basically stops quite a lot of decks with draw power, a lot of rogue matchups. Really hurts that as well. Yeah, very solid card, and that's why I opted to play that inside. Just 2 though. I needed space for some other stuff, and yeah, worked out pretty decently. Then the only other monster that I'm running is one Blackwing Nothung, and this is just to burn in time. So if I do get into time or close to time, you know, you can always just burn and then continue comboing until you either can't combo anymore or until time gets called. So that really helps a lot. A lot of times you'll find that people actually like hold their imperms and stuff, or their veilers just for nothing. Look, if they gamma hit, then yeah, well, you know, you don't get the burn. But if they veiler it or imperm it, you can actually set up a Chuche before going into this, and then you could just pop it with the Chuche to evade imperm or veiler. So that is really nice. It's also a mandatory burn, so yeah, it doesn't actually miss timing. Alright, so those are the monsters for the side. Then we are running 3 Dark Ruler in the side as well. And Dark Ruler is just really good this format as well. A lot of decks don't really set up stuff that can stop this. So this can actually break a lot of boards at the moment. I mean, Flunderies. What's it? Flunderies, Sword Souls. What was the other deck that I was running or facing? Yeah, Birds. Birds it's really good against Lureless as well. So if you can just drop this and then break their board, that helps quite a lot. And then yeah, a lot of rogue matchups also die to Dark Ruler, so that's really good. So after Dark Ruler, I've got 3 copies of Evenly Matched. Now, evenly is also really good as this format as well. You know, if you can just bait out stuff, then evenly the opponent, it really helps. But also this is just massive bait. So if you just have that hand where you've got evenly just for that extra bait, and you can just continue your plays afterwards, that helps quite a lot as well. Because a lot of people just commit too much to the board these days. So it's either a ton of negates or it's gonna be a ton of back row and stuff. So yeah, evenly is really good at the moment. Then for the back row decks, I am siding 1 Twister, 1 Harpies, and 1 Red Reboot. So these help quite a lot against back row decks especially, and yeah, they all work really well, especially Reboot against the trap heavy decks. You know, it's either they're going to pay 4,000 for judgment, but if they don't, then yeah, then you're basically just going to OTK them. So yeah, really good. Alright, then the last card that I'm running in the side, and I opted to do this because I'm running a back row deck and I've been getting hit a lot with stuff like Lightning Storm, and I really just needed to not lose to that. So last card that I'm running, and 3 of in my side, is 3 Anti-Spell Fragrance. And this actually helps quite a lot because it slows down a lot of strategies as well. So not only does it prevent you from getting your back row wiped, and you know, I need my back row, so yeah, torrentials and blackouts with Chew Chase and all that, they really need to just stay on board to add that pressure or just completely destroy my opponent. And so I decided, okay, no, anti-spell basically slows them down. Basically just means that I'm running like 4 copies of Imperial Order, even though this card is not as good, but it does slow down a lot of strategies and you can actually just capitalize off of that, which is really good. So yeah, that's the deck, you guys, and I hope that this is something that you guys can look into and, you know, just try and move away from the basic virtual world decks that are coming out, because it's usually the same old thing, just with like different stuff, like maybe you maining Droplet or something like that, you know. But this was actually a really fun way to play the deck, and yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I'm happy that I was able to do as well as what it did. So yeah, thanks you guys. If you enjoyed this video, then let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to sub and like this video, you know, share it, turn on those notifications so you can see more videos from me in the future. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.